Everyone thinks going viral means reaching everyone. But that's exactly why most ads fail, right? I mean, the businesses that are actually winning on TikTok aren't trying to appeal to the masses. They're dialed in on a very specific type of person and speak directly to them. Because when that group engages, with likes, comments, they watch all the way through it. It sends strong signals to the algorithm that this content hits, and that's what drives scale. So instead of trying to be for everyone, the real question is, how do you become impossible to ignore for the right people? So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about on today's 5K5. Welcome to the 5K5. I have Lainey with me. You've seen her before. She's pretty cool. And yeah, what is your role here at 5K? And I know we already did this, but what's a fun fact about yourself?
So I'm a paid ad specialist here at 5K, and a fun fact about myself is I just got a new car.
She has been raving over this car.
Yeah, it's red. It's nice.
Heck
So
yeah, it is a cool car.
hopefully I don't get pulled over since it's a red car and I like to drive fast. So
Yes, we will be praying for that. But so we're going to dive right in. Before I ask questions, do you have anything that you would like to say to kind of intro your expertise?
So for TikTok ads, that is something that we've recently started doing for clients, and we've seen massive success here. And to go off what we're talking about today, to see the success, you kind of have to speak to a niche and specific audience and really dial in your targeting to reach these people and to increase your results. So that's kind of like a quick highlight of what we'll be going over today.
Awesome. So let's just dive right into it. Why is it actually better for a business to target a tiny group of people on TikTok instead of trying to reach everyone?
So in 2026, TikTok users are kind of suffering from something called content fatigue. They don't want to be marketed to, they want to feel seen. So this brings in the trust premium. So when you speak to a specific niche of people, your conversion rate generally is higher because it feels like the content is specifically made for them. So rather than targeting like broad, you want to talk to each of your ads should speak to a different segment of your audience. So for example, you can target solo female backpackers over 40 instead of just travelers. And then you can make an ad specifically for this person that kind of speaks directly to them in the ad copy and the ad visuals.
Mhm.
And it makes that user want to click. It makes them more interested. It catches their attention quicker. It makes them feel this ad was made for that. So while broad targeting might give you lower CPMs, we have seen that it does give you lower CPMs, which on some platforms, that is a metric. That means that you'll have lower cost per action, but you actually have a lower cost per customer acquisition when you do narrow targeting because you're talking to exactly who you want to be talking to, and they're more likely to become a customer because you're talking to who your product is specifically for rather than everyone who might not, maybe they'll click on your ad, but then they'll realize this is not my product. Maybe I'll fill in the lead form, but I'm not qualified for this.
Yeah.
So you'll get way more qualified leads at a much better cost per acquisition when you do that narrow targeting. And we have several tools that we use at 5K to narrow down this targeting. And one is a platform called Data Shopper that lets us make really dialed in audiences
Mhm.
based on interest signals, demographics, and we can make these really specific segments. For example, I was just working on one where you can target, for example, homeowners, income ranges. And this is important if your product's like a higher end product or yeah. So that is kind of helping there with the cost efficiency is getting that targeting like really dialed in.
Yeah.
And then, so 2026 data also shows users are using TikTok for deep dive discovery. They're looking for emotional ROI and learning a new skill or finding a solution to a specific problem. So a broad ad can't offer that specific level of depth. So you want to find people that have that exact problem and target them. So that's essentially why niche authority beats that broad targeting on
Okay.
TikTok ads.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that, especially because, let's say you're blasting something to the world. There are going to be a ton of people who you're paying to see your ad who, it just doesn't have any relevance to. But then, if you then narrow that down, you're paying the same amount as you would for the broad audience, but for the specific audience, and you're getting, obviously the people that really truly want your product. So that's super good. What are the specific signals or actions from a small audience that tell the TikTok algorithm to show our ads to more of the right people?
So in 2026, TikTok doesn't really care about follower count. It cares about durable attention. So to scale an ad, you need the algorithm to see three specific signals. So the first one is rewatch and loop rate. So if somebody watches your video multiple times, that sends TikTok a signal that they're really interested in your content, and your content is generating more views and is generating interest in those specific people that you're targeting. So if they watch the ad twice, it considers that ad a hidden gem, for example, and the algorithm will flag it as high value and push it to a wider cohort within your narrow audience. So the next one is saves and shares rather than likes. Since the like is kind of like a passive signal, I know when I scroll through TikTok, I kind of like random stuff, but the stuff that I really want to see again, or the stuff that I want to see more of, I will save on my phone, and I will also share it. So if I share it, it means I want somebody else to see it too. And then if I save it on TikTok, I want to go back to it. So those are your really high intent signals of that TikTok will see those, and then they realize this content is very valuable for this audience that you're sending this to. The next one is engagement velocity. So how fast is that group commenting? So if 50% of your first 100 viewers interact with the ad in the first 10 minutes, the algorithm assumes that you hit a cultural vein and will broaden your reach automatically. Those are the three signals that kind of help expand and capture that reach within your niche demographic.
Yeah.
That shows TikTok your ad is doing well, and it will help it scale, and it will help lower your cost per clicks and overall your cost per acquisition.
Yeah, awesome. So, how can a small business or just a business in general make an ad that feels like a normal video from a member of that community rather than a boring sales pitch? Because let's say I'm searching for, a new car, for
Mhm.
example, and I'm trying to, figure out what dealership I want to go to purchase this car. I'm going to want to hear from people who have had good experiences from that dealership, not from the dealership itself. So, how do you make that ad feel normal and from, one of the members of that audience group?
So there's several things. One thing that we've seen work really well for clients is creator codes. So you have a specific influencer, a creator make you a video, and it'll give you a creator code, which is kind of just a long string of letters and numbers. And you put this into your TikTok ads, and it will let you use their exact post as an ad, and it will say their name, not your company's name, and it will have their caption below it as well. So it'll look like an actual video, but then your CTA pop-up will show up, and
Oh.
it'll be an ad, but people can go to your page from it, and it looks like an influencer video. So you're basically getting that review, making it feel the most organic by using their actual video instead of posting it on your page, and then sending people to that. So that works really well. The other thing is really focusing on that 2-second hook. So you can use a negative trigger or a relatable question. And so instead of, like, for example, buy our skincare, you could say, if you're still using this product for your acne, we need to talk. And then you can also do answer first scripting. So don't build up to a reveal, give the value in the first 3 seconds and spend the rest of the video proving how you did it. And then also niche specific audio. So instead of using the most viral songs on TikTok for your ads, which you really can't do because of copyright purposes as well sometimes, you want to use the rising sounds that are specifically trending within your specific subculture. So you want to do a little bit of research on your audience and what their interests are, maybe sound music wise, and tailor that part of your video to them as well to make them feel seen by that. And also feel like an internal expert. Use the handheld, slightly unpolished footage. In 2026, high value production often signals I'm about to be sold something, which triggers an immediate skip. So using that natural UGC feeling content really helps on TikTok ads a lot.
Now, what would you say to the business owner or even people listening who are paid media specialists? What would you say to them if they have questions on, like, I have this product that I want to sell. How do I actually start creating the ad copy or how do I start creating the videos? Because I don't have a studio, I don't have a good camera, I don't have all this stuff. How can I actually start, creating these ads?
Yeah, so in 2026, it's easier than ever. Using just your phone is actually the best way to do this. You don't need a big studio or a fancy studio or anything like that. You just film with your phone, make it feel natural, and you should be pretty good from there. Also, to get the ad copy, you kind of want to research your target demographic a little bit just to make sure you're speaking directly to them using words that they like to use, and also finding their psychological triggers that will get them to convert. So there might be a different way to say something to someone who's interested in, for example, a certain higher end type of car versus a different type.
Using a
So
lot of car analogies today.
yeah. And then also, editing that video, it doesn't need to be super edited either. Just make sure you focus on getting that hook first.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about AI for a second before we kind of wrap up. AI is helping that world so much with short form videos and things like that. Talk about your experience in, creating these ads from AI and some recommendations, with that, and then also talk about maybe the challenges that also come up with that.
Yeah, so a lot of people on TikTok, so people do use AI ads a lot on TikTok, but I found that the best ads require human input as well. So your own footage, comb through it with your AI. Gemini, for example, will tell you exactly how to edit it to be the best it can be. So you can use that as a tool. And then also it will help you with your text overlays, your caption, and everything. I found that that combination of human input with AI helping you as kind of like an assistant works best and leads to the best conversion value because it feels authentic, it feels human made, but it also makes you more efficient to use that AI to help you edit and figure out exactly what needs to be done to that video and how to speak specifically to your audience and make it sound natural. That's what I typically recommend when doing social ads, that specific balance.
Perfect. Awesome. Lane, do you have anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
Nope, I think I pretty much covered everything.
Awesome. Well, Lainey, thank you so much for joining the 5K5 today. Listeners, thank you for listening and tune in for the next one. Peace out.